Hello there. We are live now. I'm so excited to see all of you coming in now as the messages go out, letting us know that this is the last of this 10-day live stream series. Hello, Linda, always the first to join. Thank you so much, Linda Tether, joining us from Calgary, Canada. Hello, Cynthia. Cynthia was my guest just earlier in the week. Oh boy, here we are on the last of this 10-day series. It is the 8th of our episodes, and I am so excited to welcome you, Jude Rhodes, as my very special guest. Jude, of course, did a presentation for Project Kin way back in the nether long ago days as a project recipe, which was a delight. Maybe we can talk a little bit about that as we get started. Oh, hello there. Not just any family. We know you, Karen. It's great to see you. So, Jude Rhodes, tell me a little bit about your involvement in this All About That Place 2025 series and your many roles within the community.
Oh, well, hi there, Barbara, and everybody else who's joined. And thank you so much for inviting me. This is wonderful. So, yeah, I am so invested in All About That Place. I just love it. And so, obviously, I know it through the Society of Genealogists, and I do quite a lot of talks for them and love working with the society, but also um, the Society of One Place Studies here in the UK and globally.
Mhm.
Uh, I am now the secretary for the Society of One Place Studies. And then on top of that, I am on the outreach team for the BALH, which is the British Association for Local History here in the UK. So we can come back to any of those bits if we want to. But my involvement is that I have involved myself, if you like, with All About That Place for the last 2 or 3 years
So,
since it started.
so that's got you covered in all three sponsoring organizations and even Project Kin as an alumnus speaker for us across this whole series. So tell us a little bit about how this mini series came about and how you feel about how it's all come off so far.
Well, um, after the success of the last 2 years of All About That Place, and it was so fabulous to have Project Kin's involvement last year. So it became more global than it had been. So inclusive. It was fabulous. So we were all set with some dates of when 2025 All About That Place, or AATP as it's become known as, um, when that was going to run. But the Society of Genealogists are the society that drive the All About That Place event. And with, the support of BALH, One Place Studies, Project Kin. Um, but the Society of Genealogists had a massive website change this year, and it created a lot of work. So it was decided that to give All About That Place, you know, the focus it deserves, that it would go on hold this year. So I think a lot of people were like, oh no, we all adore, the 10 days. And so a mini All About That Place was put in place. And the Society of Genealogists have pulled out previous talks. And then the Society of One Place Studies, we have each tried to do a mini video of each day's topic.
Mhm. One of the things that I think, first of all, actually, before I go there, I wonder if you could tell the story about why 2 years ago, the original 10 days started.
It was as an anniversary.
How many years, I wonder?
I can't imagine what 10 days stood for. It was for the yes, and, oh, 100 10 years.
Yeah,
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 uh,
yeah.
sorry, my mind is going. So it was like 10 days and really full on, with each day had a topic. So there were 10 themes, if you like.
Mhm.
And people sent in mini videos, you know, aiming for 10 minutes, the magical number 10, um, on the topic of the day. And these were all done beforehand and sent in. And it went so, so well that it was repeated again the following year.
Yeah.
Last
We had just launched, or I had just launched Project Kin in
yeah,
2023 when I saw that appear. In fact, we hadn't even yet, because it started at the end of September, beginning of October. And it was only at the beginning of September that I changed the name from Post Ponga, which was my startup name, to Project Kin. And I was working on where to take what home I would eventually find for what has become Substack for Project Kin. And I saw what you guys were up to. The Society for One Place Studies just caught my fancy because the idea of expanding, in my view, expanding this very structured study of one's birth, death, marriage, dates of family as a structured genealogy and backing it up and saying, what about the place? What about the neighbors? What about the community? What about the families? What about that world? Was like the difference between a Lego part and world building. It was just
absolutely.
transformative.
It
And
it is absolutely fantastic, Barbara, and it's what because I'm a professional qualified genealogist, but my passion is with local history, and
right,
I see it as a formula. So you've
right,
got family history, you've got local history, put it together, and you've got social history.
exactly.
And that's what One Place is all about, really. So it just encompasses everything that I love. Family, local history, which is the identity of a place
Right.
and building on that.
Right. Because why are we doing this? At the end of the day, we're doing this to understand our own identity and the identity of the people around us.
Yep.
Digging in lets us see their roots, our roots, and better understand what we have in common, which can sometimes be a struggle. Yeah, no more than ever. And trying to find ways to do that. I saw what was happening with the Society for One Place Studies and felt it very, forgive me, but in a good way, very British. And as an American, as a colonist out here, there were things that are very different about who and where we are. And I knew that
Yeah,
my friends in Canada and New Zealand and Australia had a similar sort of distant feeling.
absolutely.
And why not let us share in that joy? And in the joy and in the difference, we can see the commonality.
Oh,
So,
absolutely, Barbara. And I love it. Well, the society loves it when we get um a study sent in from another country. We've
mhm,
just had one recently from Australia, and it's like, yay! It's fantastic. It
yeah.
really is.
I was so inspired by that and that power of globe, to be perfectly simple. I love the map that you all will find. I will include a link to that too. The map of the registered one place studies and the joy of the idea behind that, which is quite simply here is this person who is doing a study of this place. If you want to contact them and join in on their study according to what they want to let you do, if that works, come on in. Creating an email system so that they can do it without revealing their personal information and things like that. It's a great idea. I was so excited by that idea. Kind of borrowed it a little bit, as we here in the United States come to our 250th anniversary of the founding of the country, which to us is kind of a big deal, especially now, and celebrated in the context of stories. And you know what happened? The very first story came from New Zealand. The next batch of stories came from Australia. Now, the reason for that is ancestors. The question I asked was simply, where were your people 250 years ago during this period of time that was the Enlightenment? A set of people did this thing, which caused them to trigger a revolution, which arguably was a civil war, that became a separate founding of a country. And what were the other factors? Blah, blah. The other factors are every bit as interesting as what's happening here. In a sense, it was a one place study, but temporal.
Yeah,
It's looking at a time in one moment in time across
yeah.
all of these different people. But honestly, you guys were the inspiration. Um,
And that's the thing with a one place study. It can be anything that is one place. So it could be
exactly.
bridge, you know?
Yeah. A
It
boat.
exactly. How exciting was that? But yeah, or a street. A street works really
Oh,
well.
I love that. And
Right?
and by
Village.
works well, by works well, I think what you mean is that it's got legs. It's got legs that are meaningful, that are interesting, that are compelling and encourage someone else to dive in, right?
Yeah, all of those things, but it's manageable. And I think
Mhm.
that's key. If you're running your own one place, it has to be manageable. And I've fallen into this trap. So I've got two one places registered. The first place I registered is the village I live in, which is called Gressington in North Yorkshire. And I thought at the time, oh, this is great. It's not a small village. It's got 1,000 population, which to many people is small. But for the rural area I live in, a lot of villages are just 400 people. So my village is 1,000. It's pretty hard to do a one place study on somewhere that is a whole village because where do you focus? Where do you go? Do you go right back to the very start? I mean, my village is, mentioned in the Doomsday Book, and then, you've all those centuries to go at.
Right.
Or do you just one of the industries? Whereas a street is really manageable because you've got an infinite number of houses, families that
Yeah.
can be researched. Um,
Yeah.
if you did a bridge, that's great, but you wouldn't have a family living on a bridge. Well, you might do in, in some places. Certainly in Venice, there used to be, and places. But what you would then do is focus on probably the passing trade over that
Right.
bridge.
Right.
Why is it there?
Right.
How has it evolved?
Which raises an interesting question. At the end of the day, we're storytellers, right? And what is a story? A story has pathos. It has a curve. It has an oomph, and it has a closure. And it makes it human. It makes us feel that. Some can absolutely be a recitation of facts that can be valuable, the way a dictionary and an index, almanac can be very, very valuable. But a story is what it hits at the feeling. And frankly, that's where the conversion happens. What is that conversion? That conversion is, I want to know more. I want to be part of this, right? And I think, just as you were talking about a bridge is a bridge, and then you add a troll. Ah. Pretty soon you got a princess, right?
Yeah. Oh,
So a bridge is a bridge, and the stories of the travelers crossing the bridge, all of a sudden you've got the Canterbury Tales, right?
yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. It could be a brick anywhere in the world. But
Yeah.
and I think this is the other thing with a one place study is it can be um, seen from different angles. So someone might do it purely as architecture.
Mhm. Right.
If someone might
Absolutely.
do it purely as families, genealogy, or
Yeah.
someone might do it as local history, which is very much my way. Uh,
Yeah.
and then, like you say, bringing in the stories,
Yeah.
bringing life with stories of the place.
It's interesting that you categorize it, different ways like that. I tend
Just
to think that sorry?
That's just how I see it.
No, I understand. One of the things to me, I'm always on the edge of changing things up and breaking rules. I can't help myself. But I do value structure, and I greatly value the clear thinking of others that have preceded me to build out that scaffolding, the infrastructure to be able to better see a body of knowledge and parse your way through it. Um, I tend to think that one place studies is itself such a new field that the whole infrastructure, the scaffolding for ways to go about it hasn't yet been invented. And we're inventing it together by making it up and doing it different ways. So, as you say, the different ways to look at the bridge could be from an architectural perspective, from a um, kind of a humanistic perspective, or a biological perspective, a
Yep.
historical perspective. I don't know. I'm making it up here, but you get the idea. And I was just before our talk looking at a family member, a family line, talking to, as a matter of fact, my previous speaker. We were talking about the true blood family line and how we are connected as cousins and trying to figure out the details to that. And it led me back to my newbie family line, which I am quite confident of. And here in the US, we have something called the National Register of Historic Places,
Yeah.
which I'm sure it's probably borrowed from Britain. And our National Registry of Historic Places is extremely structured. Right? There is basically a form that's as structured as a tax document. And it is generally completed by architectural firms and or specialists who do this document. And it's wonderful because it's got the portion that's all about the building and the 47 different words for windows to explain the building. And then it gets into the history of the people in
Oh,
that building. What
okay.
a fantastic
Yeah,
document.
absolutely.
So, yeah,
Yeah.
and there's
And
a bridge involved, I'll add.
oh, so when we think of one place study, that is local history. So local history is the study of history in a particular place. So
Exactly.
that is local history, and the identity of that place, and the identity, you know, brings in culture, all the culture of that place, wherever it may be. So
You know, looking out ahead to next year and the year after that and the year after that, I'm thinking of where this can go. Cynthia chimes in here. There is so much information to learn from the historic registered documents. That's
I'm going
absolutely
to,
true.
yeah.
Yeah. And you have the equivalent in Britain too, right?
We have the listed buildings,
Uh huh.
historic, buildings. We have the list of all of those.
Uh huh.
Yeah, if you want to, you know, put in an application for somewhere to become listed, as in like grade one, grade two, uh,
Hmm.
then there's a lot of form documentation. Yeah. So I'll have to do a bit of homework and check if it's the same sort of thing.
I'll drop what I can find into the notes here. We can continue that in the conversation. But I was just thinking longer term as we wrap this All About That Place series up for
Yeah.
2025. What are we going to do for 2026? How does this keep going? What did we learn from 2025 to carry on? Quite frankly, from the outside and as dare I say, an entrepreneur. I'm more comfortable calling myself an entrepreneur than I am a genealogist, but I'm working on that part. Um, it was a lot of work. It was a lot of work to a single, well, to the three organizations. I was out here in the hinterland cheering you on. Um,
And it's the Society
Doing
of Genealogists that really drive it.
right. Yeah,
They
it's huge.
they are the driver of All About That Place. Um, and I guess it's what they decide happens next year. I'm certain it will go ahead. What the themes will be, we don't know yet. But I think there's some themes that have worked so, so well that can be repeated, whether
So
they're
tell me about how the themes um drive it. Out here in the hinterlands. Um it's been so hard. I was working many of the names of my speakers came from the Society of Genealogists for the people who had applied and they were trying to figure out where to have things fit. So we were taking all of the things that didn't quite fit to something else and bringing it or physically out here. I'm thinking about I can't replicate in my greatest imagination anything that the Society of Genealogists did, but we can complement it and especially complement
yeah,
it relative to our time zone advantage out here.
just
So the
like
I
Society of One Place Studies and the British
yeah,
Association of Local History do.
right. Except for the time difference, which
Yeah,
originally started because All About That Place was 10 minutes for 10 hours to celebrate 10 years over 10 days. That's great, but it starts at midnight
of
to
course.
us. It was
Or
starting at 8 a.m. In London, which is midnight on the west coast of the Americas, and the middle of the night for Australia and New Zealand. So, or
but
the end of the day for them.
they're all uploaded, so you can watch
Yeah, I
them
know.
once.
I know.
Yeah,
I know. So that's where we did that twist to make them live from here, but also recorded. And that's why I'm always thinking about what can we do that are combinations. I also did a recorded program last year.
yeah.
And frankly, 10 minutes recorded was really hard.
It's very so, so hard, and everybody says that, you know?
I'd rather do a 1 hour live presentation with feedback than a 10-minute recorded program because it's just a much higher standards for being perfect. It's exhausting. Yeah, no, anyway, I hope, be delighted to be a part of that again next year,
Oh, yeah.
looking at different ways we might do this and happy to support that any way I can. And I'm delighted to see this growing, rich, enthusiastic community here on Substack and look forward to your being more involved in all of that and many new friends coming in and becoming involved. I hope you can see the enthusiasm that comes from live combined with the conversations that extend a program well beyond the initial event. But this is just a conversation. You know, the real content delivered is best done in a structured presentation, but recorded for reference later with transcripts. So I look forward to doing this again next year and
Yep,
extending all of these and
Barbara. Oh, I can't wait.
so, any other questions from our field? Thank you so much. We have a couple of our speakers here that are joining in the chat, folks who have been here regularly through the series. I know it's exhausting. Let's be honest. But it has been fun to have each time. I know I'm gonna go in a little bit of a struggle. Our next program is on Sunday, which is a day away, but, this was part of our Speakers Corner series, and the cool thing is one of our own members has stepped up, Jennifer Jones has stepped up to host guests who tell their family stories. As opposed to the rest of our programs, which are generally about how to do the storytelling. So I love mixing these kinds of things up as it's all about encouraging people to tell their stories and learn all about the Society for One Place Studies, the British Association for Local History, and of course the UK-based Society of Genealogists, encouraging us expand the view, learn more, and support each other, right?
That's it. Yes.
Why don't we take that as a close and look forward to continuing the conversation? Now, how can people reach you here on Substack? From what I've seen, you just search for Jude Rhodes and you pop right up. And you also have a name for your
Got
uh,
Yorkshire history.
Yorkshire family history.
Rhodes,
And
Yorkshire, and you will find me.
there we
Or
go.
my business is called Stories of Our Generations.
And indeed it is. Thank you so much, Jude.
Thanks,
Appreciate your stepping
Barbara,
up.
chatting with you again.
All
Bye.
right. Bye bye, everybody. Thank you. Thank you.